Welcome in, everyone. Season 2. This is my UAB Blazers continued dynasty or continued journey playthrough. It's going to be Season 2, episode, I think, what is this, 3 or 4 now? 3. I think it's episode 3. Yeah, it's game 3. Week 4 of the game, episode 3 for the playthrough. We came out of opening the season at home against Troy and won. Went to Waco against a ranked Baylor team and won, had a bye week. Ran into a couple things coming out of that game to take me into Middle Tennessee, one of which was my quarterback play. We needed Ferguson to step in and kind of salvage that game, and honestly would not have won the Baylor game, I don't think, without Ferguson, but I was kind of torn whether to continue with Penn or stick with Ferguson at this point. But I think just based off of the ratings of the player, I opted to kind of go ahead and go with Penn, and my hope was it was against a pretty weak Middle Tennessee team, and I think I was a 28-point favorite in that game. And even though it's on the road, my hoping was maybe we can get a big enough lead at halftime and maybe start pulling some people out and shifting some things around. I was fortunate enough to get a lot of players in that game. So we went into that, and then the other one was my linebacker Mingo. Came out of Baylor with a hamstring injury, and he was questionable coming out of that. Gave him some rest through training and stuff like that, but that got him back to probable, so he could have played on this last game. But I opted to go ahead and put in Ugandi Amarakawa, who actually played really well last year, and so he's kind of, I guess, my two middle guys is Mingo and Amarakawa, and even in the first two games, Amarakawa's got considerable snaps even on the defensive side there. So he filled in and played a really outstanding game. As you can see, he got defensive player of the game in this Middle Tennessee game. Very, very interesting game. It's kind of crazy though, but I am now 3-0. And it looks like I have moved up 5 spots, or the UAB's moved up 5 spots to number 20. So UAB is now number 20 ranked team in the country. Still have not gotten any recruits. A lot more recruits have kind of fallen off the radar here. And I'm still one of only 2 teams that has not got a recruit. But yet I'm probably the 4th highest spending team in recruiting. There's a 480 more players that committed this past week. So basically now there's probably about 1,000, right at 1,000, I guess 800 guys that have committed, and none of them to me. Now I do know a lot of that probably is on the type of players that I'm going for now. As good a class as I had last year, with as weak a team as I had, I kind of threw a little bit more out there here, and my expectations, I think, was going after even bigger fish. So I even stepped up on what I was trying to pull in, based off of what I did last year. I went a notch up again, and I think a lot of these guys are kind of the ones that are kind of waiting for a Clemson or a Georgia or an Alabama or somebody like that. So they're not really too keen to, even with everything I'm throwing at them, they're not too keen to sign with UAB. I mean, my prestige just isn't there, and it doesn't happen overnight. So with that said, I did lose quite a few, some we were targeting, and then some that we even actually had offers out to. So there was probably 6. There were 6 guys that we had offers out to that committed elsewhere this week, and then I've got about another 10 that we were recruiting pretty heavily and had on our target list, and they've signed elsewhere too. So my board went down quite a bit, so I ended up scouring and going back out, and I think with the 15 or so that kind of dropped off the board, I went back in and found about another 15 to kind of put back in some of those areas, because I think I got to start looking at some fallbacks, because it does look like every one of these, I really felt like this Papke, I had a good hold on him, and he went to Georgia Southern. So that one scratches my head a little bit. I'm not really sure. Now Logan Verrett going to Alabama, completely understand and get it. It was kind of a far-fetched reach for me. It's the same with the Rourke Milligan. I was really hoping to be able to get him, but he went to Georgia. The other one that kind of surprised me was this 3-star, 1892 ranked wide receiver. Alabama gave him an offer, and of course he jumped on it too. I mean, why wouldn't he, right? And the other guy that I really thought that I had was that Britton Lanier, and he ends up going to Jacksonville State, which is another one. So I'm really scratching my head on Papke and Lanier a little bit because I really felt like I had those two guys. Orlando McCool was a guy I kind of went after late. I think I might have got in the game a little bit late. He went to Rice. I kind of was hoping that, I think he was from Louisiana, so we kind of split the difference from a location aspect, maybe a little closer to Rice, but I think Rice was kind of hitting him a lot harder and a lot earlier, and I really didn't even make him an offer, I don't think, till last week. Was really kind of trying to hope to pull him in. A couple of these guys that we were recruiting, I know that Jeb Eisendorn. Again, we don't really need a tight end. I like the Potter a lot better, but I did like the Jeb Eisendorn pretty good. And the Isaac Maurice was there, and I kind of was looking at him. But again, I think that Baumgartner that I've got an offer out to at center is one that's probably a lot more. I would rather have a lot more, at least anyway. And so I didn't really lose a lot on what we didn't actually have an offer out to. I did want Papke, Verrett, Milligan, Dorman, Lanier, and McCool. I really wanted all those guys. Didn't so much expect to really get. I really thought I had Papke and Lanier in my back pocket and lost them. So it really kind of concerns me now. You know what's gonna happen out there. But let's jump in and let's go through. I guess this one. I'll try and do this one pretty quick. Stay around 30 minutes maybe. I'm not sure, but. Want to cover the game and then maybe go over some of the standings and then kind of hit recruiting a little bit too, because I know coming out of this one I'm going to be going into I'm playing on the road at Rice this next game, and I think again I'm probably a pretty heavy favorite on that one. I think I'm probably like a 16-18 point. I haven't really looked, but I believe they're either 0-3 or 1-2. I can't remember. But if we go back to the schedule, let's see, yeah, Rice is 0-3. So looking at them, they've actually lost. They lost at Tulsa, lost at UTEP, and then they was at home against Houston and lost. So that's, I guess, 3 expectation losses, I believe. But anyway, let's take a look at our game here. So we traveled and went to Middle Tennessee. And we were 28-point favorites, so I really kind of expected to win this game. I don't think I really expected to come out of the gate swinging as hard as I did, as fast as I did. But we were up 14-0 in the first half, and then the wheels just kind of came off in the third quarter for them, and we just couldn't do anything wrong. At halftime, it was 45-3. At which point I basically emptied my bench. I mean, I got a lot. Everybody got a lot of snaps. I played a lot of folks, but Penn started. He came out in the. I think I even had pulled him even probably before halftime, but he was 9 of 10 for 112 yards with a touchdown. So he vastly improved against a much inferior defense by Middle Tennessee over what Baylor was. Ferguson came in, was 4 of 6 for 50. Ferguson threw a couple picks, and that was kind of shocking for me. I wasn't really expecting that, even to the point to where I think after that second pick, I was like, I pulled him and put Arland in. And Arland played sparingly. I think he might have played the last half of the fourth quarter. Didn't really have to throw much at that point. I was just burning clock trying to run. But he was 2 for 2 for 28 yards. So overall, it looked like we were 15 of 18. Yeah, 15 of 18 for 190 yards through the air. On the ground, we had another great rushing game, 311 yards on 39 carries. And Bedford had the bulk of the carries. I mean, basically 11. I was able to share this thing around quite a bit. I mean, Bedford had 11 carries, Saunders 8, Ware had 7, Williams got 6, and Dykes, the other running back, got 3. So everybody did pretty well on the ground. I think Saunders had a really good game. He had the 46-yard run, and Bedford had a 56-yard run. So it was about 100 of those yards came out of 2 runs there. And then on the passing side, of course, it was 15 of 18, so there weren't a lot of missed targets in the passing game. The 2 heavies was Camp and Motley. They actually, and Holyfield, so it was basically all to receivers. I guess my outside of three targets, the tight end, I had everything kind of going to the over the middle to the outside to the receivers. Really on a short passing game. I didn't really try anything downfield. I think maybe my longest one in the air was maybe a 18-20 yarder, and I think that's one that might have went for that 35 yards by Camp, which was a touchdown, by the way. So in the kicking game, again, 2 field goals made and 7 extra points. No misses there. My punter never saw the field. Never saw the field. He had an easy paycheck that day. And special teams wise, again, so Kaiser, on the punt return, he's doing pretty damn good on the punt returns. I mean, he had 3 returns for 31 yards. I think he had a 15-yarder, a 14-yarder, and a 2-yarder. So he's getting 10 plus out of some of his as well. We did have a fumble. Ferguson, actually, I think it was the only run he had. So Ferguson, where is he at? Ferguson. Yeah, gained 9 yards. It was great because I wasn't expecting that, but he ended up clipping off 9 yards, but then turned around and fumbled and lost it. And then Barkley, I think, recovered his own fumble on a catch he made. Going to the defense, again, everything was really shared around. Nobody really played the bulk of the snaps, I guess. If I went through and looked probably maybe at see what Ralston did as far as looking at his snaps, he had 28 snaps. So, looking at him, he had 5 tackles, 1 for loss, and just 28 snaps of the game. So basically, he probably played maybe half the snaps on defense. I was able to get a Wusu. He is a transfer that I got from I think California. I was able to get him in the game, so he ended up getting 21 snaps, had 5 tackles in it. So he did really well. Didn't get to the quarterback at all. I think I might have only hurt. Well, it did look like I hurt him about 6 times. Maybe had one or 2 knockdowns, but didn't get a single sack. So I'm kind of, I got to figure out my pass rushing kind of going out. I've been blitzing some too. So in these 3 games, I only got 3 sacks. Which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's if we're pressuring and they're throwing incomplete, and I know like Wilborn against Troy, I was able to get in and pressure him quite a bit, and I did see a lot of throwaways. So if they're getting pressure and forcing him to throw it out of bounds, and I mean that's not a sack, you're not losing yards, but it's a positive play for the defense. So that said, I think penalty wise, we had a few, but again, it wasn't anything game time. They only had 2, we had 5. Surprisingly, I kind of thought my time of possession I would be able to have a little better than what it was here, but we had 34 minutes to their 26, and the big disappointment I have that really kind of really chaps me a little bit is these 3 turnovers against the Middle Tennessee team. Throwing those 2 picks and having the fumble. But they did throw 4 picks also, so we were able to get 4 picks on defense, and. The awesome thing was Amarakawa actually had almost back-to-back. He had back-to-back pick sixes in the second quarter. So, when we came out, we basically had that 46-yard run in the first quarter. I think we kicked to them. They were a 3-and-out. And I think that was our first play from scrimmage. I think just right out of the gate, boom, 46 yards, touchdown. So we had 1 touch on offense, and we're up 7-0. I think it went back and forth a time or 2, and then we was able to get a good drive there, and with 5 minutes left, we got that 6-yard run from Ware, so that kind of put us up 14-0. Then we had our good long 35-yard pass to Camp, put us at 21-0. Then those back-to-back. I mean, we had in 2 minutes and 18 seconds we scored 21 more points. So in that short of a time frame, it was boom. All of a sudden now it's 35-0. Then we get to them. They had a 3-and-out, or it might have been. I think it might have been an interception. No, it wasn't another interception. I think it was a 3-and-out after that second pick six. And then first or second touch again from that was another 56-yard run by Bedford. So literally within those 4 minutes, we scored 28 points in the second quarter. And very early on, still 10 minutes to halftime, and we're up 42-0. I'm sitting there, head spinning. I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? Then they finally sustained a drive, went down, stifled. They got a field goal out of it, and then we got a field goal right before half. I probably shouldn't have taken that. I mean, honestly, it's 42-3 at that point. But at the end of the day, he's a freshman kicker. I just got to give him. I just want to give him every opportunity he has. I mean, to see what kind of happens. So, but we go into halftime 45-3, and then the third quarter again. Like I said, we just kind of emptied the kitchen sink out. I mean, we just put everything we had in there, and I mean, I had fourth and fifth stringers, I think, in, and it showed. I know they were able to move the ball better. They had a little bit longer drives. They weren't. It's definitely a different ball game, as well they should have been. But the odd thing is, I mean, it is still basically a match-to-match game, and with their first string against our probably third and fourth string, because they basically, I didn't see them pulling anybody, even being down by 42 points. Prather was still in there, Pratcher, the quarterback, and the Case and Carson were getting the bulk of the runs. McClendon, Delco, all these guys that were their starters, they were still playing in the fourth quarter. But they did get a touchdown in the third. We turned around and matched it with one in the third. Went into the fourth quarter 52-10, and we got a field goal, and then right at the end they was able to get another score out of it and made it 55-17. So 28-point favorites. We won by 38, so we still covered the spread. Looked really, really good. Pretty happy with the outcome, and especially being able to play as many players that was able to get into the game. Very, very nice. Very nice. So looking at that and kind of going into the standings, we'll just do a quick rundown. So right now, now the ACC, the ones that are kind of showing what they got right now, basically Florida State and Clemson in the Atlantic, and Maryland in the Coastal, and continue to see how that progresses. Right now, Virginia, who I think had a pretty decent year last year, have come out of the gate this year at 0-4. And then in the American, you've got La Monroe, who's 3-0, and then nobody's really pulling away out of the South on the other side. And the Big East, the Beast, got a pretty weak North going up against what appears to be a little bit better South. I think you got West Virginia and Louisville in the South, and I guess maybe your Cincinnati and Rutgers could be your North. And then the Big Ten, we have Penn State and Ohio State undefeated, and then you got Minnesota jumping out. They're in the top 10 now at 4-0, and the shocker to me in this whole standings list right here for the Big Ten is Notre Dame at 0-3. They've lost some close ones, but they've lost all three of their first games, and that's really kind of interesting. So they lost to Stanford, they lost at Purdue, and then lost to a ranked Miami team. All of those games within one-score losses. So that's just kind of some tough luck. Now it'll be interesting. They've got Minnesota at home. We'll see what Minnesota has, and we'll see if Notre Dame's going to be able to bounce back from that one. And then going down to the Big 12, which I kind of really thought Baylor was going to really pull ahead in this one, but they lost again. So after we beat them, they ended up turning around and getting beat by A&M, which it's not a bad loss. I mean, A&M's a ranked team, so they just they'll have their opportunity to bounce back. They're at Oklahoma this week, so I mean that's a big difference being 2-2 or 1-3, especially with it being in conference play now. But for the other side, I mean, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State, I guess, probably up in the north, and then in our conference, Conference USA, SMU 3-1, Tulane's 4-0. So Tulane actually is ranked 19th. So we have 2 Conference USA teams in the top 20, and Tulane's actually ranked ahead of me. So they're 19 and we are 20. I'm looking at my side, so I've got, as far as where UAB is, we got Marshall, East Carolina, Central Florida, Memphis, and Middle Tennessee, and Central Florida and Memphis sitting 1-2 right now. So, and both have a conference loss already. So I've got kind of one game up on them. Still early, very, very early. I mean, we've just basically played our first conference game, so we'll kind of see where all of this ends up mapping out. Excuse me. In the MAC, about the only team, well, Bowling Green and Akron are probably the two strong ones maybe coming out of there. In the Mountain West, we have nobody's really pulling away or pulling out. Boise State's 1-2. That's kind of surprising. And Pac-12, Oregon State's 2-0, and then Oregon has bounced back after their home opening loss, upset, losing to San Diego State, whoever it was. I can't remember who it was they lost to, but they've bounced back really, really nicely. And I think in their last 2 games, they Hawaii. That's right, Hawaii smoked them, and then they come out and just destroyed Nevada and put up 59 on Akron. Kind of expected. They're going into a bye week, and then they start picking up their conference play. After that, they finish out their season with their 9 conference games. All right, let's see, a couple more to cover here. Going into the powerful SEC, you got Tennessee and Georgia, kind of at the top on that end. But I mean, that's pretty strong. Everybody's 2-1 or 3-1 in that whole SEC East. Then you got Alabama and LSU both undefeated, 4-0, 3-0. And then Auburn's in the bottom at 1-2. Maybe Auburn in a year or 2 will come knocking on my door if I can pull UAB up by the bootstraps. And then Sunbelt, we've got Tulsa and North Texas. That's still early to really see anything really kind of washing out in this, pretty much. Now going to the recruiting news again. This is where it's kind of coming up and is there's some teams out there like Alabama's already got 11 recruits. They're currently got the top recruiting class in the country. But then you got some teams like Northern Illinois. Have already got like 13 recruits. But they're sitting with 8 3-stars and 4 2-stars. And most everybody's got 4, 5, 6 recruits, and then you get down to the bottom, and it's the Raging Cajuns and UAB that have none. We don't have any recruits, and there's a couple teams with 1 in Colorado State with 2, and then it kind of picks up to where everybody's got 5, 6, or 7. So I'm really kind of curious to find out, like UMass here, they've got 11, but 8 2-stars and 3 1-stars. Not really a lot of 5-stars really hit the board yet. I mean, I think we've really only got 4. There's only been 4 of them out of the 39, I think, in the recruiting class that have actually committed. And there's not been a hell of a lot of 4-stars either. There's a few, but out of the, what do we have? 160 of those. I can't remember what the number is, but there's quite a few of them. But there's not many of them that's kind of been pulled out of that. I do have. Let me pull up this recruiting sheet, because I do kind of track that, and it is kind of interesting because it is something I do like to watch pretty much every year. And let's see what I have here. I'll pull this across here real quick. I'm not sure if I've actually covered in this final. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Okay, I've already got it in here. So I track these basically. So what I do is I come up through and look at the total number of recruits that we have by position, and I basically kind of have it drawn out, how many's in 5-4 down to the stars, kind of what's kind of currently signed at this point. And then I track it week to week, kind of seeing what kind of falls out. So The first week we had anything coming, we had basically 74 guys committed, 335 guys committed in week 3, and then this past week 480 committed. So that's basically a total of 889 guys, or about 22% of the entire recruiting class. Now, keeping in mind that's a recruiting class of 3,960 guys, probably only of which 2,800 will even sign. There will be probably about 1,200 that don't go anywhere, because there may only be about 2,800 scholarship offers between 132 schools. So out of that 3,900, maybe only 67% of those sign. So if there's 2,800 signing, we've already signed 900 at this point. We're 3 weeks into it, which means probably of all the recruits that are going to sign, I'm probably already sitting at about 35 to 30, north of 35%, over 1/3, and UAB doesn't have any. So I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit. I'm like, this is not going too well. The funny thing is the area of need that I had was tackle. I was trying to go after a couple tackles, and a lot of the tackles I've had on my board are dropping off like flies. So I'm having to kind of go back through and look and kind of see what's kind of happening there. As you can see, this time last year, week 2 and week 3, there wasn't any signings. Week 4, there was 26 signings. So at this time last year, in the version 26 game, there was only 26 guys signed. And then this year, in the version 27 game, there's 889 guys signed. So now I will say a lot of that has to do with the change. I think with the change that Brooks and them kind of put in, with signing day and then having more recruiting days after the spring game, kind of going into it. Probably a lot of the bigger guys might not really wait until signing day or closer to it. Going to be interesting to kind of watch that and see how that kind of pans out. But I definitely think I like this better. But again, like I said, going back to 26, I mean, if you looked at it when guys started signing in these weeks here, like week 8, and when it started getting heavy, it was all really 5, 4, and 3 stars. There was very few 2 and 1 stars really even signing up until not even until week 13. But now, if you look in this version now, there's as many 1 and 2 stars that have more 1 and 2 stars that have signed in the first 3 up through 4 weeks than what did probably all the way through the regular season of last year. So that's interesting. That's kind of interesting to kind of follow that and kind of see how that progresses. But that said, that's just something else I kind of track that I just find interesting. If I go into and look at my recruiting now, so this is where I've kind of had to go through and shift some things around, because I've actually got a lot of players that guys that lost targets, and these are some of the targets that I've lost, and a lot of them are guys that I actually had offers out to, which is something else I kind of track something else in the thing here too, that I just kind of follow week to week, and when I place an offer and stuff like that. So these are the guys that have kind of fallen out, that have gone elsewhere, signed elsewhere. These are the ones that I had offers out to. Again, this Rourke Milligan guy that I really wanted, I offered him in the spring, and then he committed just this week to Georgia. A couple of these I just really offered like 2 weeks ago. That Papke and Dorman, and we have really 4 of them, Gus and Barrett and McCool even as well. So I might not have really got in. I've been recruiting those guys since day one. I just didn't have the offer out there to them. I didn't really watch close to see when the other schools might have offered them, if they offered them that much sooner. But at any rate, I ended up losing those guys, so I've got to start picking it up. And these ones in yellow are the current offers that I kind of have out there. So my current spend right now is about over $1 million. So I'm one of the highest spending teams right now in recruiting, especially not to have any recruits signed yet. So if I go into recruiting right here, Oregon spent the most. They're sitting at about 1.3. Washington spent 1.1, and then me and Georgia and Michigan have all spent $1 million. So I mean, I've spent up there with the big dogs. I'm sitting there throwing stuff out there, but I think I'm going after too big a fish. Maybe I think that ultimately, looking at it in hindsight, I think I'm probably trying to hook some big wells, and it may not work out, but I think it'll still be fine. The thing that concerns me though is, like in last year's game, if early on I didn't get those wells, I still had a big pool to pick from because there weren't like a lot of those other 3-stars and other guys that were signing. That does not appear to be the case this year in version 27. So it does look like a lot of those 2 and 3 stars and guys are kind of committing on to elsewhere. And I'm just concerned and wonder, because I noticed that when I went through and had to refill my board, trying to find some other with these other ones falling off, going back in and refilling my board. I did come up with some new guys to put on it in some of the different key positions and things that I'm looking for. But I did notice there was kind of some slim pickings in some areas. I was a little bit shocked that I was struggling to find some guys to kind of fill in. So all these ones in blue are new interviews. So the interviews are scheduled with these guys. They're the ones that I've just kind of put on the list now. And if we go by position, so with me losing out on Verrett this week, I went ahead and threw an offer out there to Altman. He's the other guy that is local, and location does appear to be a big play for him. His other offer is Alabama, so I'm hoping that with Verrett signing to Alabama, that might sway him more not to go to Alabama. Maybe I'm not sure if playing time is pretty important to him. So if he feels like I guess if there's a competition there or something, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe that might help me in the long run. So I'm kind of hoping that it does. But I did put a couple new guys on here. This one I kind of like this guy. This David Polybanks. He looks somewhat decent, and it kind of had some good talk about him a little bit too. Intelligent, might not be quite where I'd like it to be, but I kind of look into him. And then running back, again, it's a position I really don't need. I don't really have an offer out to anybody. I did throw a couple more on there. There's Trenton Smith and Tevon Millard. Kendrick Woolfolk's the guy that I'm kind of looking at, but this Trenton Smith kind of caught my eye a little bit too. So I'm going to kind of look and see what we might have there. Fullback, I still have Pendergrass. I'm still trying to throw the sink at him. I did add another one in here. That's Bradley Carlson. He's not my typical what I like to see in a fullback. He's not my wear type guy, but I still think he might be okay, and he's local. So we'll kind of see what happens there, especially if Pendergrass falls out. But right now, I'm still the only offer out to Pendergrass. Tight end, another area of position that I really don't need. I do have an offer out here to Potter, because ultimately if I get him, he's, again, last year I tried to recruit too high in tight end, and by the time I dropped off of the radar from getting the one I wanted, there wasn't a lot left, and the ones that were there had already been recruited so heavily that I didn't have a good play to get in on it. Now I feel like I got a couple tight ends that were better than the ones I had on the board, or are on the team at least anyway. But I still think if I can get another one this year, if I can get this Potter, I think he's probably going to be better than any one that I have now. So I'll make room for him just to be able to even though I don't need another tight end, he'll be playing. Wide receiver, big area. I lost McCool, which kind of does stink. I did end up pending an offer out here to this Jaquan Smith. He's pretty decent. The only thing I don't like about him is his lack of run blocking. When I'm running, I need my receivers block, and and when I'm passing, I don't need a receiver that's a B+ pass blocking. Particularly if he's going to be my target. So anyway, I still kind of like him. I've got out there, and I've got the other ones out here. This Ruggs. I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm going to lose this guy. He's from Tennessee. The value's playing close to home. I think Memphis is going to get him, but I'm still gonna try. And then I've got a couple fallbacks, so I ended up adding 3 more on here. I've got this Carter Wells, Armegis Downey, and Troy Bolton. I've added these 3 guys in to kind of try and learn a little bit more about. About the only other one. I mean, I would probably extend an offer out here to Childers. And quite honestly, I was looking at possibly signing maybe 3 receivers, but right now I've got these 2 offers out there. I'm probably going to lose one of those if I go back and offer Childers. That's just going to be back to 2, and I've got to learn a little bit more about these other guys on the list. So receivers, I'm starting to hurt a little bit on. And then guard, I did extend the offer out here to Butcher. This guy here, he looks better than almost anybody else that's on this list. But I did throw a couple more out here, so I've got these 2 guys in particular. This one guy here, he has no offers out there yet. I don't think he really even has a top school, so nobody's recruiting him heavy enough to where he feels like they've hit his 50% mark, I guess. And he does look fairly good. So I'm really curious and he's not too far away, so I'm kind of curious to see where he may fall, because if I have a fallback and need, he might fill into that pretty good. Tackle, another area I need a couple tackles. Concern is, again, probably the same thing, is I feel like I'm going to lose this Virginia guy. He doesn't value close to home, so I don't know that Duke really holds anything on me in that regard. I think ultimately, he values winning. Maybe market size. Duke's got that on me, but I'm just not getting any interest build on him, even with NIL or hitting the right marks on pitch. So I'm feeling like I'm probably going to lose him. I did go ahead and extend this offer out to Isaiah Warner this week, and wouldn't mind bringing him in either as well. I looked for tackles, and that's, again, like I said, I've had so many tackles fall off the list. When I went back out there and started looking at them, I'm like, holy crap, there's just not a lot to pick from. So I may end up having to look for some oversized guards or something. I don't know what I'm going to do there, but maybe hopefully I can get a couple of these to fall in, because this Boucher's not bad either. He doesn't really have any top schools even yet either. I just don't like his lack of speed's not that big of a deal, I don't guess, but he would be another fallback too. Center, I'm holding my breath on this guy. He has no other offers out there right now, but this Baumgartner is one I really want. And hopefully we'll end up getting him. I did throw McGinnis on there. He didn't have any offers, and he's one I'm just going to start throwing some information at and trying to see, kind of where things might land with him. But I'm only going to sign one, and I'm hoping it's this guy right here. This Aiden Michelson's not bad either. No kickers, no punters, defensive tackles, another big area of need for me. I've got 2 offers out there still currently, Frazier, and then I ended up extending this guy. This is not one that I could really use 3, and so there may be another one that I end up throwing out there. Gunnar Jones has no offers. He's another one I've kind of thrown out there to pull up and try and get some more information on. This Alterius Swain, I think I just really hit all the buttons with him, and he just immediately popped up to like being hot. And I'm his only current offer right now. Don't like his speed, but again, I'm not as concerned about that. But I mean, he's B+ strength and B agility for an interior, and he's pretty smart and a good tackler. So I'll take him if he signs. And then Frazier, again, like I said, I really need a third one. There are a couple of these guys. I was really looking at Anderson pretty hard, but now he's already got 2 other offers out there now between Memphis, and he's Arkansas, so he's going to be going probably to one of those, likely Arkansas. And then defensive end, I think I need one. I've got an offer out there to this Kenwayne Harley. Now another team has popped in and has offered to him. I do have a good NIL, but it's good an NIL offer that I can really, with what my budget is, out there for him. So, and he did pop up and change his interest a little bit, I think, with that, but he's still not hot for me. Logan Paulson's hot. He moved up to hot even with another offer. So I'm not sure that even with the offer that he has, we'll be kind of curious to. Wow, he's with Howie, so he's the team to that other guy. Cool. And then linebackers, I do have a need for 3 out there. It's just probably one of my. It's not as weak. Linebacker was really weak for me last year. And then I got Mingo and Ralston and a couple of those guys that come in that are doing really well. So from a starting aspect and what's on the field now, it's much improved and much better. There's just no depth. I gotta get deeper, especially. I think I've got three more that are leaving. I've got 3 that I would probably just cut if I could. So I've really got to get heavier on recruiting. And Niles is one that I've added, and he's got no offers, and he actually great leader, loyal to the bone, tackles with nice fundamentals, alert and reacts well on the field. Just not the speed that I'd like to have, but definitely could be serviceable for sure. So I'm definitely going to look at him pretty hard. But I do have offers out there now. So I've got this offer down here to Randall Ferguson, who could be a diamond in the rough. I think really could be good. I think us in Jacksonville States are his top schools, but JSU's not offered him. I have. So hopefully he'll come with me. And this Mike Napoli, I'm the only offer for him right now too. I really like to get him. There, Jermaine Corliss, I lost Lanier. Corliss was my second guy that kind of came in behind him. I've offered him an IL. I've had him out there with several home visits, pushing hard to get him, not really climbing on interest. And now he's got 2 other offers too. And he's in bigger schools. I mean, he's from Florida, so he's probably going to go to Florida. Have a feeling I'm going to lose him. So hopefully, if I've got Ferguson, if I got Napoli, maybe this Niles or one of these other ones kind of fall in. There's still a few good ones here I've got to choose from, particularly ones that don't have offers yet, like this Richmond. That's another one that I've recruited heavier as well, and I would take him probably pretty good. His tackling is just not right what I'd like it to be, but it's good personality traits. Let me try and get through this recruiting now. So now we're down to corners. I really only need one. This Marcus Jeffries, the one I've had out there since day one, since spring. He's climbed up now with 4 more offers. I've just offered him a tier 2. It's about, I could go higher, but then if I go to a 3 or 4, then it's going to burn everything else that I've got left. And I have no commits. I don't want to throw everything at one and then not have anything to give anybody else trying to fill a recruiting glass either. Strong safety. Oh yeah, cornerbacks. I did throw a couple new ones on here too. Shepard and Roydell Adams. Get some info on them, and then this safety. Zamir Shorter and Fuller are 2 that I've thrown on them. This Zamir Shorter really is interesting. I mean, he's ranked number 89. He's got no offers. Got no top schools, just nobody. I don't think anybody's really hitting him. His intelligence ain't great, but he is local Alabama, so we're gonna see what he might have. I'm not sure. Fuller's kind of the same way, and then Jaden Shivers I've added as well. The offer that I have out there right now is Lydell Gully. This is one that I think I just did the offer out there to this guy. But he has no other offers either. No top schools, so I'm not really even in his top. Maybe after the offer, stepping in the next week, maybe I will be. But he's good intelligence, decent personality traits, great intelligence, great speed. Agility is not quite great, but. And then the last position is the free safety position. So I've got 2 offers out there, the Studdard and Quiles. I feel pretty good about Quiles. He's got another offer out there, but he's hot on me right now. The other offer, and I've had him offered since the spring too. And the other offer is Jacksonville State. He comes up and says he thinks he's going to get the most playing time with Jacksonville State, so that could be and possibly going to be an area where I lose him. Even though I'm going to, I'm pitching playing time for him. But if he feels like he's going to be a better fit at JSU, I'm probably going to possibly end up losing him. But I've got Studdard still there, and there's still a couple more here. This Muty, and then I've added this Devontae Rutherford to try and get a little more information on too, because he looks pretty strong. So I don't want to lose Quiles, but if I do, it's not an area that I don't feel like I'm not going to be able to put something else in. I'm really more concerned about wide receiver and tackles now. That kind of covers the recruiting side of it. So I'm going to go through and still get a little bit of lag sometimes the longer I'm in this game, it still just seems like some of it still happens. But I will say the training piece does appear to be this patch. I'm on the new patch too, so it does appear that the training piece is resolved, and I think these are going to start calculating up once I start advancing in the weeks, where they weren't counting before. And right now, I really can't go in and do the individual training on this week right now with any of these guys, because I did want to kind of go in and show what I started doing on these, because I'd like to get some input from anybody else watching these to figure out what they're doing, because I do know one of the things that they were supposed to fix in the patch is the whole burnout piece, right? And so I know if you auto manage burnout and had the auto manage burnout set, by week 4 or 5, you're getting flooded with emails where guys were just getting torched and just tired and everything else, and it was affecting gameplay and affecting their play and everything else, and so I didn't want to go through that. So I basically kind of go in and manage, and quite honestly, I think I might have found a system, but I don't know if it's an accurate system. It's one that seems like it's pretty smart to me, but I would love to show it. But I can't right now, because until I advance this week, the patch fixed this issue here, and where this was disappearing. And so once I advance this week, this won't be an issue anymore. And so the next episode, what I'll do is I'll make sure and make it a point that I go through and cover what I'm kind of doing on training. It seems to be doing okay. I'm not getting anybody isn't getting blistered. It doesn't seem like I'm tired. I just don't seem like I'm getting a lot out of training, though. It's like I'm not progressing. But then again, maybe it's too early in the season to really start seeing too much of anything anyway. I do know that kind of looking after the last episode, I was kind of looking at the skill ratings and stuff. So just starting Mark Penn in these 3 games, he's went from a 54 to a 59 in his skill rating. So that's progressing up northward pretty nicely. So I'm thinking, if he stays the starter and he keeps playing well, I think his work ethic has a lot to do with that too, because he's got like 100 work ethic. But I think if he stays in the starting role by season's end, hell, he could be north of a 70 on the skill rating, which is pretty cool going into the next season, and maybe gain some, going into his sophomore year, and if he's north of 70, that'll be great. But going into this next game, so here's the preview. So we're at Rice. We're 22.5-point favorites. Looking at the matchup, I've got Luker with fatigue. I'm not quite sure why. Again, I can't get into the training or see or understand what's going on there. That's not a good sign for me. He's the only one, but and then I've got a guard who's got migraine, so he's apparently going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. He's a freshman, but he wasn't actually starting. I think he was getting some snaps, but he wasn't starting for me. They look free and clear of injuries. Again, my nemesis is these damn dual threat quarterbacks. They kick my ass more times than not, and I'm facing another one. This Clay Aberry, he's their leading rusher, 429 yards. He's not doing great passing, but he's running his ass off. So we're gonna have to see what we're able to do there. I'll have to go through and work a game plan up and figure out what we're gonna do. Then if I look at some of the other maybe top 25 matchups, let's see, is there any games that look, Oklahoma, Texas, Red River, there we go. That's coming up. And Oregon, USC, that'll be another good game for Oregon, possibly. And there's not really too much else. There's LSU Auburn. I mean, at Auburn, that could always be a gotcha game for LSU there. And this Minnesota Notre Dame is going to be interesting. I'm really kind of curious to see how good Minnesota is. If they can go to 5-0 and drop Notre Dame to 0-4, if Notre Dame starts the season 0-4, I think they were in the damn playoffs last year, and they're starting their season 0-3. Again, three games, losses of less than 1 score, but still, it's crazy. But I guess that will do the wraps on this episode. I will get ready to basically game plan, and I'm going to hash through my recruiting one more time and look at some of my pitches and make sure I've got those set right, and then play this Rice game, and then I'll get that game played and see what we've done on the recruiting. Hopefully we'll get a couple guys, and we'll go ahead and start the next episode after that happens. It'll be probably, I know I've thrown a few of these this weekend. I didn't have a lot going on, so I've kind of thrown some of these out and got through these first 3 games pretty quick. But it might slow down a little bit, so I may not get. I'll probably get this episode posted up here shortly, but I might not get the Bryce game probably till later in the week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. Anyway, till next time, y'all have a great day.